Okay, hi everyone. We're gonna begin with the conference number 28, the Universal and Individual Christ. This is a really special conference because it talks about, about the fire that is within us, that is the Christic principle. So we're gonna explain the objective of this conference is to explain how this fire that is within us is also in the matter and energy of the universe and of the different masters that have managed to awaken the 100% of conscience that is trapped in the obscurity of what we call ego. So we're gonna start. So, to talk about what is the Christ, we need to talk first about the secrets of fire. We are gonna talk about something that is called the army of voice. The army of the voice or the army of the word is like fire. There are a lot of beings that are managing to sustain the creation with the principle of this living force of creation that is fire. This philosophical fire makes the chaotic matter fertile. That means that it has two electromagnetic poles that are useful for creation. That is the pole of the father, that is the electrical part, and the magnetical part, that is the force of the mother. This we are going to study it also in the creation of our existential bodies, superior existential bodies of our being, that we need to have a partner, our couple of the opposite sex, to do the creation of suprasex or sexual tantrism to awaken the force of our being that is also fire. So we need first to know that through sexual alchemy we are gonna crystallize this philosophical living fire that is within the universe but is also within ourselves. For that we have a principle of that fire, but we need to unite with a person of our opposite sex that is going to be our life couple through the three principles of fidelity, chastity, and love in order to create our superior existential bodies and to discover what is the supreme force of love. That is something that is really pure and that is really beyond all what we have seen in this world, that is really egoic. So we need to detach ourselves from the concepts that we have of loving like something romantic, like something of silly words, of just flowers and a lot of flirting. That is not love, but love is something supreme. It's the superior force or the superior law that is willing to eliminate all the darkness that we have inside, or what we call our ego. So this cosmic fire is here to purify all our matter, to bring light to this darkness that we have inside us. So for the logos to appear, it must be unfolded in the force of the Father and of the Mother. It's not possible for it to manifest in this nature if we don't have these two poles for the creation. So the Christ is the word, sorry. So as we were saying, the Christ is the word that makes possible the existence of the universe in the dawn of any creation. What does that mean? That we create, the army of the voice creates through sound. It creates through the word. In the beginning of the universe, we only have the vibration or the sound that organize the chaotic matter, and this energy, that fire, is what Christ means. We are not talking only about the historical issue. I'm gonna silence the microphone here. Um, so, as we were saying, um, this Christ is not only the historical issue that we already know about the great master Jesus in this world. It's not only that cosmic drama. The Christ is the reality from instant to instant. So, what is that? What does that mean? That we are living from instant to instant and we are rescuing the fire that is trapped in our desire. Desire makes us slaves unless we are willing to rescue light from darkness and beat that desire. We need to make conscious that desire. And how are we going to make conscious the desire? We are going to know what does the different psychological egos or selves want us to desire, to say, to act, or the different manifestations or voices that are moving our psyche in order to comprehend, understand, and eliminate that trapped essence of our 97% of ego. So, I'm gonna silence the microphone, please, because I need some silence. Okay, and he went away again. Okay. What is Christ? Is this fire that is willing to create within ourselves, but we are not going to create within ourselves unless we are rescuing the energy and saving that precious and valuable energy or fire that is trapped in our desires. So we need to deny ourselves from instant to instant, and in the instant we are going to rescue that energy that is trapped in our ego, in the darkness of the 97% trapped conscience. If from instant to instant we are watching and self-observing our human machine and being the owners and the masters of the fire that we have in the different parts of our human machine, the sexual fire, the emotional fire, the motor fire, the instinctive fire, that is the energy with which we are going to create. But if in an attack of anger we wasted all our motor energy in insults, in explosions of unnecessary reclaims and complaints, we are not going to have that energy that is precious to create the existential bodies of our being. We are not going to have the element of fire that is going to be useful in the sexual transmutation. So that is what is fire. And if we could save the fire that we have within our microcosmos, we could create and destroy with that force within ourselves. In fact, the different masters of creations, the cosmo creators, already did this job, and they can create and destroy atoms, create and destroy universes. If you have heard of the historical issue of Hinduism that they talk about Shiva, that with the third eye can create and destroy galaxies. Well, he's a cosmo creator. He has already done the job of eliminating ego, rescuing the fire of his microcosmos, and is willing to create and destroy according to superior laws. So the world is like that. It's a fireball that turns on and off according to different laws. There are masters in this universe that know the cosmic laws and how to operate that in order to different essences to progress and to evolve and to return to the absolute with some portion of universal wisdom. That is our job in this third dimension, to see if we can come back to the absolute with the 100% of conscience awakened as a cosmo creator. So we're gonna talk about the Christic fire now. The Christic fire is the fire of the fire, is the flame of the flame, or what we call the astral signature of fire. So what does that mean? That within ourselves we have the conscious will to create and destroy. We can also see the consequences when we use that energy to feed our different psychological egos, psychological selves. We have seen the consequences, the destruction that we can cause. How can we alter different laws? How can we experience karma when we suffer the consequences through pain of our mistakes? For example, if you are angry and insult someone, you experience the law of karma in yourself when you suffer the pain of someone that insults you and that humiliates you. So the Christic fire is the power that moves it all in the creation, even our trapped conscience, that is ego. So when we unfold that ego and destroy this bottle that traps our conscience, this fire is ours to create, but to make superior creations, conscious creations. We're gonna see how we can use that to rescue the different forces of our being, our virtues, our powers, our faculties, our forces that can give us the force that we have never imagined to experience something superior, like astral projection, a practice of meditation. Those are practices that connect you with the force of fire, of universal fire, and you can see it all beyond. You can see the great panorama when you unfold yourself from the scenes of life, of daily and ordinary life, and you see it all from beyond. You become the observer of the different forces that manipulate you like a human machine, like a puppet. That is the Christic fire. You have seen the force of liberation if you experience something like Koani's meditation, something like the remembering, the retrospection also of past existences. You can see that there are forces beyond that are related to the conscious manifestation of our fire. So we're going to explore that through practice when we are living the different practices with which we can connect to our being. When we experience the fifth dimension in a conscious astral projection, we are going to see a different level of conscience. We are going to see the fire that moves within this third dimension, that is something really heavy, and we are going to see the lightness that means to be the owner of your own fire, because through the astral projection you need to have awakened a little bit of conscious, have denied yourself a little bit of that ego that enslaves you, to make yourself a little bit light and access to that dimension. So we're going to experience that Christic fire through all the practices of the awakening of that conscience that is bottled up in our ego. So that is something that you're going to experience, that you're going to discover, that you're going to see for yourselves, and that is going to allow you to have the proof of those superior dimensions of nature. That Christic fire is going to awaken the force of the superior desire to be one with your being, to awaken that Christic fire completely. You're going to want to be in that astral dimension all the time, because it's something really light, something really liberating. So now we're gonna talk about what the INRI means. The INRI is the words that you have seen in the upper part of the cross of the Master Jesus. That means Ignis Natura Renovatur Integram. These are some words in Latin that just mean the incessantly renewing of nature. That is what is the Christic fire, the fire that incessantly renews nature. We are going to be able to burn that ways of being of ourselves that are really wrong, the wrong ways of being that are our ego. We are going to be able to lighten them up in fire. That is what the apocalypse means, to lighten the fire and burn all that ego or that darkness for good that we have in ourselves. So the advent of Christ in the heart of man radically transforms us. What is that Christ? So it's the burning fire that is going to end up all our suffering, all our darkness. Is the light of wisdom of our cosmic Father that is going to come and manifest within our human machine. But it's going to be possible only if you deny your ego, deny your passions, your lowest passion, and your desires, your animal desires, and sacrifice that in order to attain the inner silence. So, the Christ as a solar logos is the perfect multiple unit, is the light that drops in the entire universe. It is what it is, what has always been, and will always be. It's something that is not temporal and superficial like our personality, that is born and then dies, and in another existence we have another personality that is completely different. We are born in another place, have another sex different, have another name, have a different physical mother and physical father. So personality is something that is born and dies in time, but our essence is totally immortal. Our essence is completely free from time, but is innocent. We need to give it the wisdom that it needs to be able to return to the Father with the 100% of consciousness, rescue from evil. Evil is that force that we call the ego. So now we're going to talk a little bit of the cosmic drama, so we can relate what does Christ means and how does it relates to the cosmic drama of Master Jesus, of Great Kabir Jesus. So we must know that it was a cosmic drama that has not only been in this world brought by the Master Kabir Jesus, but also has been brought by the Elohim to the earth. The Elohim were the great masters that had managed to awaken the 100% of conscience and integrate the polarity of feminine and masculine within themselves in order to create. Those are the cosmic creators. So the Elohim, in order for this breed of people that are living now in this earth, brought this drama in order to leave the elements that were necessary to attain the awakening of conscience. We don't know how to awaken our conscience. We need an example, a model that gives us the inner clues to awaken our fire. We are totally ignorant in in these matters of the spirituality. We are full of darkness because this society is in involution right now. So these cosmic dramas were brought to the world by many masters that had done this job of awakening the 100% of conscience. That was the form of them to do the sacrifice for humanity. That there are many works that different masters have done to do the work of the sacrifice for humanity, of teaching people how to awakening their conscience and being free of the enslavery force of our ego. So the great Lord of Atlantis already represented the drama and Kabir Jesus represented it in the Holy Land. But unless we kill our ego and our Christic fire is going to take care of that and burn the psychological ways of being of ourselves, unless that Christ dies and is reborn within ourselves. It doesn't matter that Christ historically has born and resurrected in Bethlehem. We need to kill the force of ego within ourselves and be reborn from the ashes. That is our job, because many masters have done that and have pointed us the way to do it, but we need to do it for ourselves and not just admire the different masters. We have the power to dissolve ego and the conscious job and the duty to do it for ourselves in order to rescue wisdom from evil. We need to do this creation that is our job, that is awakening our conscience. So trying to discover the nature and the essence of fire is trying to discover God itself. So we all have already known that the cosmic drama means to crucify our ego and integrate the two polarities of feminine and masculine, electric and negative, to the dissolving our ego and crystallizing the free essence in our spinal cord through suprasex, the practice of sexual tantrism. So, as Christ is fire, it has manifested itself through an igneous appearance through all times, like the burning bush of Moses. And we're gonna see that the universal Christ is also the union of this great army of the voice. The army of the voice are the different masters in the universe that have awakened the 100% of conscience and that have integrated the two forces of electric and magnetic force, feminine and masculine, and can create through the mantras or the sound and they are creating different galaxies, different parts of different planets, the plants, the minerals, the vegetable, the animals of those planets. They have different functions in the universe and different vocations. So if we do that, if we awaken the 100% of conscious, we're going to be resurrected as a cosmic creator or a master that is going to enter to these different vocations in the army of the voice, of creating planets, or of creating galaxies, of creating different parts of the universe. And they are completely conscious and are just doing the job of creation. So in order to rescue and create what is our individual Christ, we are going to look at what is fire. The fire is trapped in our desire. So right now, what we need to do first of all, in order to awaken our Christic fire, is deny ourselves our desires, our lowest passions, but consciously. What is to deny ourselves consciously? To explore, to ask ourselves, why do we want to do what we want to do? What do we want to think the way we want to think? To be willing to renew ourselves through the force of fire. Fire is essentially renews nature, but we need fire to renew ourselves. We are comfortable the way we are. We think we are perfect. We are like made up of stone. We don't want to change. We are petrified in our old habits, costumes, in the force of all our concepts of the intellectual mind. We are rational animals and we don't want to come out from our comfort zone in which we do the different things that we are used to do, the habits, the traditions, the personality. We are really attached to those concepts. We don't want to change. But if we see our inner darkness, we are willing to change and turn fire within this stone in order to make it malleable, make it different, in order for life to flow within ourselves. And how are we gonna do that? Well, first of all, we need to start saving our energy. And we're gonna save our sexual energy to the conscious use of the sexual creative energy, not by fornicating, ejaculating, and feeding our animal and lowest passions and desires, but knowing that this energy that is our sexual part, those atoms, sexual atoms, can create our superior existential bodies of our being, can awaken love, and can unite ourselves consciously to our couple, make that union something really pure, something really signifying, because it's going to be the person that is gonna create with us something that is superior and something that can allow us to consciously know the different dimensions of nature. And also we are going to experience what is love, because we don't know what love is. We are really narcissistic. Always we want to feed what is best for us, what is gonna benefit us. We don't want to be uninterested, to be willing to share joy without expecting anything in return. That is to be uninterested. And that love is trapped in that desire, because desires always want something in return. Desire is made from fear. the fear that we have of being empty, of being alone, of having no richness, of the fears, of the worries, and if we don't have success in life, about what personality says. For example, that is the different concerns of the material world that trap our Christic fire. So we're gonna make a simple and daily exercise of self-observing ourselves in all our actions in order to save energy. So if you're walking through the street and your mind starts to talk about your worries, of some, you have something to pay, a bill to pay in the bank, and you start walking through the street and thinking simultaneously in that. So you're going to tell to the divine force of love, that is your divine mother, eliminate me this ego that is worrying about money. And you're going to be living the instant with your heart centered in the instant. That means that you're going to save your mental energy. If you are all the time thinking and thinking about that bill you need to pay, you're not going to be doing that, but you're going to be in inner silence. And in that inner silence, something that is intuition, that is the force and the word of the Father, of the cosmic creator, that is fire, is going to manifest within yourself. And you're going to be able to focus and to live the instant completely. So that way you're going to rescue the fire that is trapped in your desire. And not only with saving mental energy, you're also going to learn how to save emotional energy. For example, if you dislike someone and you see that person and instantaneously you feel an emotion of disliking, of wanting to be far away from that person. So you're going to tell that force of love that transcends it all, Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of antipathy towards that person. So you're going to be saving emotional energy too. And also with your instinctive and sexual energy. For example, you see someone that, according to the prototype of beauty, is really desirable for you. So you're going to ask yourself, is that my couple? Is that truthful? Is that fair? Is that useful that I'm desire someone that is not my couple? So you're going to recognize the reality in that you're feeling, that you need to awaken the power of fidelity, chastity, and love. And you're going to beg your Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of lust. And you're going to save your sexual energy also with what you want to talk. For example, you're thinking about gossiping with someone at work and talking trash about someone. You're going to tell yourselves, is that the force of envy? Maybe it's the force of envy. Maybe I don't like that person because I want to be admired like that person is. She's admired by my boss. I want to be admired too. That is the force of envy. And if you want to talk trash about that person, you're going to tell that Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of criticism, of gossiping. And you're going to save the verbal energy, that is the motor energy. And all those energies that you have saved all along the day in your human machine are going to crystallize through the suprasex or sexual tantrism with your couple. In the sexual practice, you're going to take that energy that you have saved all along your day and crystallize it in your spinal cord. So that way, the energy that was trapped in your ego is going to be liberated and going to serve to create what we call our conscience. We're not going to have just the 3% of justice, wisdom, and love, but we're going to add a 4%, 5%, 6%, in order to rescue the 100% of conscious of that is the force of our being. So that we're gonna do it, as I explained, with the psychological death, that is to eliminate in your daily routines and in reflexive meditation if you need to analyze deeper and eliminate in a deeper way some ego that in the instant you cannot eliminate, that is really powerful. Well, you're gonna also reflect on it when you have the time to do it. Suprasex or sexual tantrism with your stable couple of the opposite sex through the principles of fidelity, chastity, and love to create the superior existential bodies of our being. And sacrifice for humanity, that is teaching different people, all the people without distinction, without charging in an uninterestedly way, how to awaken the force of fire that is the individual Christ, in order for each person to have the power to awaken the force of their being, or to awaken the 100% of trapped conscience. So that is the way to develop our Christic fire. These three factors are the perfect way in which we are going to rescue the fire of our different psychological flaws. We are going to teach the essence how to serve to a conscious purpose through uninterested sacrifice, and we are going to condense the energy in our spinal cord. Spiritual birth, psychological death, and sacrifice for mankind. So now we're going to talk about when the moment that the individual Christ is born. If we decide for the direct path against the garden of the world of will, through this difficult and narrow path that no one wants to follow, because the 99% of people go through the path of the nirvana because it is more comfortable, because the attachment to the forces of ego, because we haven't denied ourselves from the very instant with all our energy. So the direct path is the only path that can lead us to kill our ego for good. The people who go through the path of the nirvana, that are seduced by the power of their inner Lucifer that traps the light and the fire of love, are not going to eliminate the causal egos, although they have done the job of creating the superior existential bodies partially. So they haven't done the job of uniting to their cosmic common creator. So they left the job partially done. We need to beat ourselves to that point that we are willing to deny our ego for good and eliminate and lighten the fire to all our psychological ways of being. Because to unite ourselves with the cosmic creator is the way to become for the Son of Man to be born. Because, for example, first we need to be a man. We are not men. We are rational animals, but we are not men. When we humanize ourselves and create the superior existential bodies through the suprasex and the working of the elimination of our ego, we are going to have the first 5 bodies created. Then we need to unite ourselves with the superior centers of our human machine that represent the force of our mother, divine mother, the Buddhic body, and the divine father, the atmic body. But in order for the Son of Man to be born, we need to humanize ourselves first. So if the seed doesn't die, the germ is not born. What does that mean? That we need, first of all, to kill for good that seed of evil that are our causal egos, the 7 causal egos that are the reasons of our suffering. We're gonna kill them for good if we choose the direct path, and in that moment is going to develop the individual Christ. If we don't get to the part or the point that we are going to choose the direct path, is impossible to the individual Christ to be born. So the intimate Christ is latent in our seed. That means that in our sexual creative energy are the different alternatives that, or the possibilities that we can have to create ourselves as a completely developed man, of humanize ourselves. But is like the metaphor of the seed. For example, you know that a seed has a plant inside, but unless you put the seed in the earth and put water and fire in it, the plant is not going to be born. So that means that we need to put our sexual energy in a context that is going to develop the germ. The earth means this sexual center. We need to work in our sexual center in order to obtain chastity. That way we are going to plant our sexual creative energy, or plant our seed in a place where it can be born. And the water and fire is going to make that plant grow. What does the fire and water mean? The water is all our sexual creative energy ascending, and the fire purifying that sexual creative energy. So we need to kill the seminal wrap. The seminal wrap is like the envelope of the seed. It needs to break in order for the plant to start merging from that seed. But we're only going to be able to do that in order to develop our Christic force, if we are willing to deny ourselves to our forces that condense the energy inside that seminal wrap. First of all, we need to beat our ego of fornication in order to obtain the chastity, the scientific chastity that is not only not expelling the sexual creative energy in fornication or ejaculation, but is also being able to save the energy in the different centers of our human machine. And in order to do that, we need to be practicing the ongoing death, be modifying incessantly our animal nature by killing the different and mistaken forms of be of ourself. If something is going to plant distraction within ourselves, we need to be able to come back and focus again, maintain concentration, conscience centered in action. A master that has awakened the 100% of conscience can be awakened all the time. Awaken in the third dimension and awaken in the astral dimension and in all dimensions, because he has obtained the power of concentration all the time, incessantly, because as he was working hard in the denying of the forces that trap us as and slave us to our passions and momentary desires, as well of the illusions of the mind, we need to make intentional efforts and voluntary sufferings in order to come out from that animal nature. in order to develop what is called the Christic fire, that it is the most important event of our life. But we are gonna get to that point if we are seriously concentrated in saving that energy and denying our different mistakes that we repeat and repeat again because we are trapped in a vicious cycle of ego that lead us from pleasure to pain, and we don't want to end up within slavery. We are happy enslaving ourselves, so we need to end up if we want to the intimate Christ to be born. So the intimate Christ takes control. When it comes, it takes control of our mental, emotional, motor, instinctive, and sexual processes. As I told you, 100% conscious master is able to get wisdom out of nature itself, is willing to concentrate and immediately connect to the universal wisdom of the Father and knows what he has to do in the moment that he has to do it. In the instant, he's going to act according to the will of the Father. So the Christ is the inner Savior, is our celestial fire, and must be born when we are advanced enough in our psychological work. So we need to eliminate from our psychological nature all the causes of the error that came from fornication and that made all that we call our seminal rap or our egos. We have different and mistaken forces that manipulate us and that makes us divisible. We are disseminated. We are disseminated in a bunch of people that are in our microcosmos, and we need to attain the individuality, the sacred individuality. So the living and philosophical fire, the fire of fire, the pure of pure, is going to surround us and bathe us, and as we have created these superior existential bodies of our being, we are gonna be able to attain the power to dominate our inner water, earth, air, and those are the conservative vehicles of fire. And we are gonna manage to pull the different forces from our wisdom of our being, and the celestial fire is going to crystallize within ourselves and take care of our psyche, of the 5 cylinders of the human machine. Well, this is the conference. I don't know if you have any questions or something you want to add. Thank you very much for your attention. And well, the objective also is to be rescuing from instant to instant in the ongoing death that Christic fire, and that is going to be the first steps of our individual Christ, to have that energy that is going to point us in the direction of the will of our being. Thank you.